Hello guys, thank you very much for watching again. So today I'm in a place called Arrowtown, which for anybody that's never heard of it, it's basically just a small town, small village on New Zealand's South Island. The only difference is it's completely surrounded by mountains, by kind of different mountain ranges, which means it's just packed full of different trails and hikes and walks, that sort of thing. It's just endless adventure around here, which means it's perfect for landscape photography, and that, believe it or not, is why I'm here. So today I'm going to try and hike this hill that you can hopefully see behind me. It's not got a name or anything, it's not really that tall, but I'm hoping it's going to give me a fantastic sort of vantage point of this area. It's gonna give me a good base to tell the story of this landscape, that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've done a bit of research, and the hill, it's not really got an official sort of hiking trail. There's no legitimate path or anything like that. I've been told that it's kind of old mountain bike trails and stuff like that. So I mean, it could be a bit ropey or treacherous at times, but I mean, yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. Sunset's probably in a couple of hours, just under, so I'll have to get a bit of a move on, and the weather's looking perfect. Don't need to look too much into that. Hopefully things will stay like this. So yeah, I'm gonna get my gear and set off and see how we get on.
Something's wrong, I waited up, wounds on my feet. Where will you be? Flickering through memories, the Polaroids yellowed in the sun, longing to be seen. So come and hide with me, hide with me, hide with me.
As you can see, it's not actually all that easy. So, a bit of a race against time now. So you can kind of see there, look, it was definitely a mountain bike trail at one stage, or maybe it still is, I don't know. But lunatics, I mean, get a look at that. What's going on there? Oh, I couldn't do it, I'm telling you. But oh, I'm about halfway up and I'm honestly, it's so much harder than I thought, but I really don't have too much time. Oh my god, I thought I'd stop here just to show you the view. I'm only halfway up, so get a look. So I've chosen this location in particular for quite a specific reason, really. I've been shooting the same scenes, the same landscapes now for probably about 2 months. I mean, you've got to keep it fresh. You've got to keep trying to think outside the box with your landscape photography. You don't want to keep shooting the same scenes over and over again, or else you could find yourself in a little bit of a photography rut, which is, to be honest, probably how I feel a little bit at the minute. And even though the landscape might be stunning, which, I mean, like this most definitely is, absolutely, it can still become a little bit unexciting, a little bit tedious at times. So you've got to keep trying new things, finding new locations, finding different perspectives, which is what today's all about for me. So I'm hoping this evening can bring me something, I don't know, a little bit more offbeat. So I need to rush up to the top now, so I'll meet you up there. scene up here is unbelievable. Are you ready for this? Hang on, let me just turn the camera around altogether. So down there you have Arrowtown, and that's the moonrise. It is ridiculous. Let me just look at this, just sweeping panoramic views all the way across. That mountain range there, just above that lake, that's called the Remarkables. And they're the reason that I wanted to come up here. I've been shooting those now, like I said earlier, for probably about 2 months, and I just got sick of seeing them from the same side, which is from the Queenstown side. If anybody knows the area, they're probably the most photographed landmark in the whole of Central Otago, and for good reason. They're beautiful, and it's like the main ski area up there and stuff. But I was just so excited to kind of see just a completely different perspective of them. But I mean, I've come up here to this scene as well over here of Arrowtown, which just has so much depth. We've got kind of all this snow up here, this sort of craggy hill, which is going to make for a fantastic foreground for these images. I'm probably going to take a couple now. So this is my composition here, this is my image. I'm really going to try and keep this simple, because this has all the ingredients for a fantastic image, and it doesn't need to be difficult, it really doesn't. So I'd start from the sky and I would come down, background to foreground. That's just the way I do it. I'm not saying that's how you should do it, it's what works for me. So the sky is poised perfectly. Then at the background, I've got such a beautiful contrast of the snow on the top of the mountains. It's dark and light, simple. And I come further down, and then I've got the whole of Arrowtown. Honestly, I have never seen an image of Arrowtown from up here, so that's fantastic. All of Arrowtown's images are in Arrowtown, and rightly so. It's a beautiful historic town. This is a fantastic different perspective, which I'm delighted with. It's the whole reason I'm up here tonight. So let's call that the mid-ground. The town itself gives such a perfect scale. So without that, we don't know how high up we are. The foreground doesn't tell us how high we are, and the background is just too vast. So that is really necessary for me to make this image work. So that's simple. Then I'd keep coming through, and then all I've got to do then, I've got to find something in the foreground, which, to be honest, is the most difficult thing for me. I want my foreground to tell a story. I want the viewer to know where I was stood, literally, when I was taking the photograph. So from down below, this mountain is very craggy, it's rocky, it's quite rugged, and there's quite a lot of snow, which is gorgeous contrast. So I'm going to try and include some of that in this image. So let me literally try and show you my image. So guys, this is going to be my second image. I'm lucky enough to be able to even consider getting 2 images up here, but it's just gorgeous. And to be honest, this was actually my primary image. This is the whole reason I came up here this evening. So I'm going to try and talk you through it. That's a fantastic starting point for me in the background, the Remarkables. Then I come into the mid-ground, and I've got this lake here. It's called Lake Hayes. And again, the same as my first image, all of this mid-ground, this is just offering the image scale and depth. This adds the sort of grandeur to the image. This is what makes the image, really, the mid-ground, so it's important. On the other hand, I'm shooting in landscape. It's a really big scene. It's sweeping. It's a sweeping image across this landscape. I don't want to just take a snapshot of this whole landscape and leave it at that. I want the viewer to have a focal point, even in the mid-ground. So for me, that's the lake, Lake Hayes. It's fairly simple, and even anything else around that lake, again, it's adding scale, but it's also adding a frame just to the mid-ground. And then I come in, just like before, to the foreground. So up here, I don't know how much you can see that, but there's a really gorgeous diagonal going down there. Green trees, and even I'm trying to clip a little bit of these on the right hand side, get them in my image, these silver trees, just to add a little bit of contrast. So all in all, it makes for a fantastic image, and I'm going to see how it looks when I get home. It's kind of difficult to tell when it's in the raw format straight out the camera sometimes. So for both of these images tonight, I'm not using any filters. I've brought my filters up with me. I always have them just in case, but it's nicely dark tonight. The sun had set earlier on behind the mountains like it always does around here. So yeah, no need for the filters. I'm using ISO 100 for both images, f9 for both images. Seems to be the sweet spot for my camera and for my lens. I just prefer it. It gives me sharpness throughout my image, foreground to background, ideal. So that's it really, guys. Thanks again for watching from Arrowtown, or some random hill next to Arrowtown. As ever, can't really tell if the images have been too successful until I get home. They look pretty decent on the back of the camera, even in RAW format. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon. Out.